server. Know what a server is? We're not talking about it at a restaurant, right? We're talking about our network. So what's a server? A server is a computer that allows you to use its resources. So we have file servers. And what is file server? File server. So I come up here and look at my computer. Look how many drives I have on there. How many drives do I actually have on this computer? One. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm accessing a server called a file server, which lets me map its resources like they belong to this computer. We call these logical drives. Now, we're having problems with this guy right here because things have changed. Okay, I mean, so all these, the only real drive I have over here is that on the top left-hand side. These are actually hard drives, and that's drive what? C. That's the only real drive on these computers.
So all the other ones, they're just network drives.
They're network drives. We call them logical drives.
So you type in their IP address and get into them?
Well, if you have the rights and you have the privileges, and that's what we can do on a domain server, is we can establish what rights and what privileges you have. So what we do is when we set you up an account on the server, we can assign your account to what we call a group. And then what I can do is I can come in when I share a resource. So the act of a server of making a resource available is called sharing. The act of actually using that resource is referred to as mapping. Does that make sense? So we got two ways we can share resources, and for some reason it's not running correctly, and I need to go back and do that. Is when you log into the domain server, I can set up what we call a script file. And what that script file does is it automatically assigns resources automatically. So if you log in under a certain account, then I can automatically map these logical drives for you. Or if you've got the rights to it, what you can do is you can just bring up your folder, and then of course now you have to have the IP address of the server. And it's 172.25.80.35. This is our file server. It's a domain server, but it's also a file server. So when you install a server operating system on your computer, it comes up and asks you what type of server software do you want to install there. So it'd be kind of crazy for me to use a big old powerful computer to nothing but let people log into the network. So what we can do is we can share this. So this is everything that's shared on that computer. So we don't have any printers. If I had printers, they would do what? They would pop up. And then if I've been given permission, then what I can do is I can map those. Right? You understand? All we have to do to map them, we can map it with a script. But we can come up here and just click on that. And look, one of the options we have if we're on a network, we got what? You know, see what it says? Network drive. And then it comes up and it's going to give it a logical letter to something that I don't have already assigned. And then I can come up here and I can say finish. And then now I have rights to that folder. And when we set up permissions on the server, I can give you full access to that, which means you can do what? You can write stuff into it or you can read from Summit. But I can make, so our student drive that we have, that used to be set up, but it got wiped out. We put all these manuals and everything out there, but we give you the rights to do what? Read them, but you can't do what? You can't save anything out there. And we do that with a domain controller. So we can give you, and that's not a right, that's a permission. A right is to be able to log into the server, and then what we give you the rights to do, and all these would be what we call permissions. So permissions is what I allow you to do, give you permission to map a drive. And if you don't have permission to it, it'll still pop up and it'll be listed because they're all shared. But if you tried to map it, it would tell you that you don't have what? You don't have the permissions to do that. So we have all types of servers. We have file servers, and a lot of them are totally transparent to you. We have domain servers, we have file servers, we have print servers, we have email servers, we have all kind of different servers that we set up, right? You understand? It's like the internet. Used to on the internet, you had a web browser, and that was it. And then if you wanted to download files, you had to download an application on your computer called an FTP client. And if you wanted to access search engines, we call them gophers, you had to install a what? You had to install the client. Well, over the time as it evolved, and it's transparent to you, over the time as this has evolved, is that what they've done is they've put all these features inside your web server. So now I can download files. I can use email. Email uses a client software called STML, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So, but you don't have to install all these different client applications on your computer anymore, because now all those clients are in what? Inside your web browser. And basically it's transparent to you. So what we're going to do is you're going to have to start bringing your computers up here, and what I'm going to have to do is reset them up for you, and then we'll let you map the drives. That sound okay? So y'all need to bring y'all's computer up here. It takes a little while. If you don't log, if you didn't log off, then I'll have to figure it out, because you can't even log in anymore. But if it's got other users, then we'll be okay. I just turned it off.
Oh, no. Yeah, I didn't log up. Sure, I will, but. What? So much knowledge.
It's been around a long time. When you learn it on your own, you have a tendency to remember it.
Mm.
So we just we set up our own network in the college before well the computer science had one, but we set up our own private network a long time ago. We realized that we were going to have to do that, and then we started off figuring out how to use an NT server. I don't know if I remember NT or not. Technology, Windows NT. Then they went to Server 2003, which is still what we're running, but I think they got a 2000. I can't remember the last version of server software that they have, but it still works fine, so we don't have to. And then we ran the web page. So this is before we even had internet connection here. We got a place up in Birmingham called the Metrics. They had an internet access to host our website. And I wrote the first. I actually wrote the first website for the college.
Yeah. What year was that?
I'll call that. Before we had, so I had to access it through dial-up. So I'd have to access that site and upload using an FTP client. I had to upload up there. So I did. That was fun. What I would do is I would go to the websites and I would look at the HTML language that you set up those things in. The new password, by the way, is welcome $ with an uppercase W. That should log you in. Oh, this one's over down.
You got it? Okay, good.
So what we're having to do is we're having to join these computers to the new domain is what we're having to do. So you have two things to log into a domain. Your computer has got to have an account, and then the user's got to have the account. So it's pretty secure once you set it up. Oops. Put it down.
Hmm? What? Yeah, just get your computer, tell us they weren't logged off properly, so we had to change the password.
We had to get like our same computer last time.
Yeah, you need to, because those are the only ones that have the software.
We got 5.
5 might already be set up.
That might be it right there.
Yes.
Oh, is that one it?
No, I was just changing everything over to the.
We got tab.
Well, it's been a while. I've got it finished last
Oh, dang,
week. Right.
So my name is going to be under the user, but you should be able to select log on to new user, right? Welcome. Now you make sure it's set up to log into the NT domain. If it's not, you might need to bring it back
Oh, what's your name on?
up. Yeah, but what does it say about the domain?
the MVP office. How long is that usually?
No, it says. Let me see. Bring it back up. Let's see how this is going to come out.
Log into that one.
No, you need to go switch user. Just log in under me. And then when you go back, it should give you the option.
OSCC or MVP. But the other user is supposed to use that,
What other you?
like you put the your account in and switch. I don't have a name.
METSTU. Now that's your generic account. It's METSTU. Right. The password is now. Y'all didn't know that? As many times y'all logged in. Normally,
Password, but the username's not on.
Huh?
The username's not on.
you got to type it in. No, my name's on there because I was the last one that logged in. So normally y'all don't have to do anything because it brings up the last person that logged in, right? You understand? So what you need to go is go to METSTU. MET student. And then the password is welcome, uppercase W, $sign. METSTU. Take that. Try.
So what's on that?
Year 6. 11th is through.
Go ahead with the first password. Capital W, welcome.
time is
Just gonna finish everybody up. Yeah, I started working on the project, but then somebody didn't log off their computer, and I had to slow it down. Well, several people did. Who's number 6? Is that Melvin? No, switch you for truck. The password. A tag. I don't know where those tags are. I need to find them so we can tag the computers. So I'll know just when we put them up, so we can tag them on the outside. By the way, when you store the computers, you need to not only look it up, number of right on the thing. And I'll tell them, by the way, we can look at it and see if they're all the right one. This is a special charging port. What they found out a long time ago is that if you leave the computers charging all the time, then it wears the batteries out a lot faster. So this is a cycle charger. So what that means is if you don't put it in right back in the right slot, it might not get cycled right. Does that make sense? So you might end up with a computer that's gonna run down, the battery's gonna run down. What's that? Which one is that? Hey, that might have been the one. That was one that wasn't hooked up to the car. It wasn't involved with my car. This is the only recharge I have on the So what you're gonna do now? Everybody here? Everybody log in okay? Okay. So now let's go ahead and get the stuff out and finish up what we're doing, and then we'll show you how to log in on your other accounts, and we'll let y'all partner up, figure out who you're going to work with. There's what? I might have to go out and redo it. It's fine. Well, all we're doing is using the power supply. It probably wasn't, Anthony, it probably wasn't your fault. It was, I entered something wrong telling me how to find the server.
So what should be up on?
Yeah, lost the state ID. When y'all listen up a second. When y'all go to my computer, or I think no, just go down here to on your taskbar, just this folder right here, and then click on that. And over here on the left-hand side, do y'all have a drive called Students?
All of that is extra code,
So my script, for some reason my scripts are not running. I'm gonna have to go back and figure out what's going on there.
You said you wanted to click on libraries, right?
Oh,
Is there?
No. All you're doing is looking over here on the left-hand side. You should have a C drive, right? Okay. And then there's supposed to be a Y drive on there called Students. Is it listed? There's nothing in there right now, but what we'll do is a lot of the information for the classes will be inside this folder called Students, that y'all be able to go out and we'll be able to access. Right now the folder's empty. So if you look at my computer, it looks like I've got all these drives out there, but none of them is mine. They're all what? Well, they're all on a server somewhere, on a file server. So we've got that. It's so amazing to me where I've come from and where we're at now. But over there, if you look on the other classroom over there, if you look at the front on the table that's on the left, there's a little old black box up there. It's about this big, about that wide, about that big. That's our file server. It's 6 terabytes worth of storage on it. So if I go out here and look at our file server and go to properties, that's how much space we still have available out there. So everything that we store for our whole department, our whole division, our whole NET, we're only using 467 gigabytes. Almost 5 terabytes. Now, a terabyte is 1,024 gigabytes, which is 1,024 megabytes, which is 1,024 kilobytes, which is 1,024 bytes. So that's how much. So in computers, or in decimal, in binary, a K is equal to 1,024. Huh? So in binary, a K is not 1,000. In binary, it's 2 to the 10th, which is 1,024. So, it's kind of misleading for you. So a K would be 1,024, a meg would be 1,024 K, and a meg would be 1,024 K, a gig would be 1,024 meg, and a terabyte would be 1,024 gig. So it's a lot of capacity. But the only thing we're eating up is this 402. So all the PowerPoint, all the stuff, all this. Then we take that and subdivide it into folders that so you're not actually looking at a disk drive, you're just looking at a folder that's being shared as a disk drive. And when I map it, what it does, it acts just like a disk drive. So here's our docs. If y'all had access to this, that's all our classes. Here's this class. Here's, oops, not this one. So all our ILT classes is right here, PLC 3. All the manuals are out here, all the labs. But what we can do is instead of me putting it on this computer, I have access to this where? Anywhere. And the college has what they call a VPN. Everybody ever heard of VPN? What's VPN? It's a virtual private network, and what that means is that I can be at home and I can VPN into the college's network, and I can access all this stuff from my home. And another feature that a lot of people don't play around with is something called remote desktop. So Windows has been supporting remote desktop ever since Windows XP came out. And when you do remote desktop, what you can do is you can bring up the screen of another computer and you can access that other computer just like what you're sitting in front of you. So this is the domain server. And it's old, guys, but so what we do is we can set up active users. So here's active users. It's got a DNS server on here. Do y'all know what DNS is? Anybody know what it stands for? Service or server, yeah. We know that everything has an IP address, but how many of y'all know the IP address of Google's website? How many of y'all know the IP address of any place that you go to on the internet? How many of you know a lot of the how many of you know by heart all the phone numbers that you have in your contact list? So how do you access them? You access them by name. You don't access them by phone number. That's what a DNS server is. So a DNS server is a server that allows us to use names. And all it does is when you type in that name, it goes to the DNS server and matches that DNS name, that IDN name over to an IP address. So it's a contact list. So DNS server is a contact list. So it allows us to use names instead of knowing IPs. Right? You understand that? Which is really, really neat. So instead of me having to know these IP addresses, I can use a contact list. And what you do when you do what they call a top level domain, once you go in and enter .coms, .edus, what you're doing is identifying a DNS server that it would go to. So we don't have all these computers, one DNS server managing all the DNS, all IDNs or internet domain names. That's IDNs. That's what you're typing in. When you type in a .com, it goes to a DNS server for com. It don't even look up that. And then it matches the IDN to what? To the IP address. And then from that on, it's an IP address. So DNS servers allows us to use names instead of what? IPs. It's just like your contact list. Just like your contact list. So we have one of the services we have set up over there, we have a DNS server. So that means you can access computers here on this campus with what? With name instead of what? IP. So it's pretty neat. So we have file services running on this server. We have domain servers running on here. And what we have to do is we can come in here and go to administrative tools. And one of the things that you do is configure the server wizard. And then it comes up and says next. And then what you can do is next is you come up here and you select what type of service you want to install on this computer. You don't have to put everything on this one. So I could have a computer that's nothing but a print server, right? You understand that? Which is pretty neat. But having a network is really, really neat because it gives me the ability to share the printer on so I can share the printer over there on my office to the network, which means anybody that's got rights to use it can do what? Or not, I'm sorry, permissions to use it. So networks are really, really neat. A peer-to-peer network, everybody know what a peer-to-peer network? So that's basically what we're setting up. So when we go up there and set up our network over there, we're going to have a peer-to-peer network. Anybody know what that is? A peer-to-peer network is every computer's a server and every computer's a client. So if you set up a peer-to-peer network, what you can do is you can share resources on any computer. And if I've got permissions to use them, then I can map them off a computer instead of a. So we're running kind of a hybrid network here. We're running kind of a peer-to-peer. So when I come over here and hook my computer directly into the PLC, that's a peer. That's a peer-to-peer you're setting up. So the PLC acts like a server and your computer acts like a server. So I can get information, I can transfer information from my computer to the PLC, or I can do what? I can transfer information from the PLC to the computer. Peer-to-peer, that's what it means. So everybody's equal, right? Everybody's equal, which is pretty neat. Which was the first type of networks we set up before we figured out how to do domains. But what's nice about domains is that we can do what? We can share, if we got a file server, we can share that without having to, I could come in here. So right now, let's see if we give y'all, so I'm going to go over here and look at my drive. And here's the big drive. It's only 447 gigabytes, but that's plenty. So these are the folders that I have available out there. So we got one called student. And then I'm going to come up here and right click on that, and then it asks me what I want to do with it. I want to share it. So right now it should be shared, and I look at, so METSTU should have rights to that. So you should be able, and the script's not running, but we'll go ahead and give y'all rights to it and show you how to do this. So what you can do is you can come down here on your folder, right here. Okay. And then up here in the left, up in the address bar there, what you're going to do is you're going to tell Windows that you're looking for a computer. And I don't know the name of that, so we'll do it by IP. So I'm going to put a backslashes. Everybody doing that? And then I'm going to put 172.25.80.35. And then, so what we're doing now is we're specifying a computer on a network somewhere, but here I'm using the actual IP, right? And then when you enter that, it should pop up and show you all these neat little folders that's out there that you can map. Everybody okay? What's that? So you put backslash. Y'all know what the backslash is, right? Then 172.25.80.35. 35. And then when you enter it, what should pop up is this. All the folders that have been shared. Everybody okay? Huh? Backslash, not forward slash. Forward slash is going to try to take you to the internet. A forward slash is going to try to take you. A forward slash looks like a fraction. That's the way you do the fraction. Backslash is another. So not, put the forward slash, odds are it's gonna open up Internet Explorer, and it's gonna try to send you to a web. You didn't specify a language. So, normally by default, we have several languages or types of servers we have out on the internet. We have HTTP servers, which are web servers. So by default, if you don't type in HTTP, then automatically it pops HTTP up there. So that means I'm communicating with a server that communicates in HTTP at hypertext transfer protocol. So I could start off with FTP // and that would say I'm looking for an FTP server, right? I could type in telnet //. A lot of servers out there that y'all have no idea that transmits in a different language. All y'all know right now, two of them, HTTPS. What's HTTPS? It's a secured website. It means you enable encryption. That's what you do. When you go to HTTPS, that sucker uses encryption. So it establishes a connection with you, and nobody else can get into that once you establish that, right? If you do HTTPS, then that's just an open website, right? So HTTP. We have telnet sites out there. We have FTP sites out there. We have all types of different sites that communicate in different languages that call up different clients, and the ones y'all don't know about. So what we're going to do is down here, there should be a folder down here labeled what? Students. I'm just going to right click on that. And then one of the options is to what? No, one of the options, Map Network Drive. You could open it, but what would happen if you open it now, every time you turned on your computer, you would have to enter that password. Okay? So I'm going to come up here and not map it, and we're going to map it as Y. And I'm probably using Y. So I'm not going to map that. I've already, let's see if I got a student somewhere else. I do. On mine it's S. And then it should pop up with an empty folder, which means it's ready for what? So right now I hadn't done anything in it. I mean, it used to be all there, but we had to redo our server because what happened is it crashed on us. And it was one of those things where it kept rebooting itself. Yeah, we just bring up the folder, right? Right click on it, and then choose Map Drive. And then it gives you a scroll box. And what you're going to do is, let's map it as Y. I'm going to have to redo the map. By the way, once you got a resource mapped, what you can do is you can bring up, if you want to get rid of it. So my student drive is mapped to, it's already mapped. Okay. But if I wanted to unmap something, I could come up here on the list on the right. I could right click and choose what? Disconnect. And after that, it unmaps it. So now on, every time you log in and you go to my computer, one of your drives that you're going to have available is called students, which is pretty neat, right? Makes sense. So now we can put all this stuff out there. What we're going to do though, so if you open up TIA, what TIA does, TIA portal does.
You want to keep finishing the research? You want to map it?
Yeah, go ahead and map it. Yeah. When I get my script working, I'll unmap it and then I'll remap it from the script. Yeah, it should bring up a blank thing. There's nothing there, right? Everybody okay?
Mine says access denied, I'm sure.
For students? Anybody else map that, or did it come up and say access denied?
I'm not map.
What are you logged in or? See, if you try to map anything but students, if you try to map anything but students, it's going to say access denied. Why? Huh? Well, no, that's the only folder I've given you rights to. I can do it because I have rights to those other folders. You don't have rights to those. You don't have permission to use those other folders. So everybody that logs into METSTU has a permission to use the student drive, to use the student folder or the student drive. Because now it looks like a what? It looks like a drive. But if you come up there, it's assigned a letter, but it's not a physical drive. It's what we call a logical drive. Well, what I can do, and for some reason it's not running, is I can set up what we call a script file. And what the script file does is it automatically maps and unmaps drives. And so it's really neat. So when you log in, you're supposed to run a script file. And so we have a lot of things that we set up under user accounts. So if I come up here and just click on any user, oops, then these are all the things that I can set up for that user. And one of them is a profile. And then this is the script that's supposed to run. I know what I've done. Golly. Just a little thing. It should run that script right there. Y'all don't have access to it, but so I can set up but I didn't put the .txt, which is the type of file it is. So I understand what happened. So I'll fix that. But what I can do with a script file is I can automatically, when you log in under METSTU, it'll automatically map the drives I want to map for you, and then you won't have to do what. So this is the first time y'all seen mapping drives, and I'll take care of that because there's certain things that we need to do. But what happens when you open up TIP? It's going to automatically put you into the folder that where all these programs are at. So when you log in, it should have whatever project you was working on last. So it should be on the list. And you keep adding projects and adding projects and adding projects. Well, but where are these projects stored at? They're stored on your computer, right? You understand? So what I would have to do next time, before we teach the class, the next time I would have to come out and delete all the projects off that computer. Well, if you come in and you store the projects on my server, then what can I do? I can go into my file server, which I have access to, and I can delete all of them. So eventually that's what we're going to do with the PLC classes, and that way I won't have to go back and clean off. So that's the beauty of a server, that we can store all this information out there, and we keep everything. So when Mr. Sanders stores something on a class, he stores it in that class instead of storing it on his computer. And if I teach that class, it means I have what? I have access to all that stuff. We bring in adjunct instructors. And what we do on an adjunct instructor is we just go out there on the class they're teaching and we just copy that folder for DC onto a thumb drive, and then they use that. We don't give adjuncts access to our main file server, by the way, which is the 3.6 server. So we got the 3.6 is the true 6 terabyte server over there, but I can tell y'all the IP because you don't have permission to use it, right? That makes sense? You better not have. No, we will next semester.
How are you going to do the advanced class or change?
No, we're not in the advanced class. The advanced class is going to be just like you took it. The only people that's going to get Siemens is the people that take this class right here. This is the only place we're going to teach Siemens, because Allen Bradley is still the main PLC in this area, right? But if you think you might go to work on a company, you'd need to take what? This class. So this is the only class we're going to teach the Siemens PLC. So that makes sense. So that's a good question. So what we do is we just set, all I have to do is just like on this class, is out on my server, is I set up a bunch of folders for this class. So what that means is that let's see 3.5 on that. 1.7. So 172.172.25.80. 172 is a private IP. Y'all understand what that means now? What does that mean? Huh? Don't leave the college. You don't get through the gateway. It can't get out on the internet. So it's not a legal internet IP address. And it's a Class B license. Anybody know what a Class B is? Gives us the ability to have 16,000, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, 16,384 on there. The college uses 10, which is 2 to the 24th on their network. So what we're going to do in this class is that we're going to do these stations. So this will be the first station, which nobody's going to be on. So your group is going to be assigned one of these folders. And then what you're going to do is you're going to save all your stuff into that folder. Now, once you set it up, then you don't have to do anything anymore, because what it does is once you come up here and you move over to another folder, then it's just like RSLogix 500. Once you save one thing, it takes for granted that it's going to save it, right? You understand that? So what we can do here is we can just when we set up a new folder, what we can do is we'll change that path and path it over to your other drive. So we're going to have to map another drive, but we're not going to do it from this account. We're going to do it from the other account, right? Does that make sense? Everybody okay? So let's see some of the things that we can do. Let's go ahead and reopen up our project. So you should have it pretty straightforward. You can just come up here and just double click on project, right? Or, huh? Oh, why is it gone? Huh? Yeah, we logged in under another user. So what we need to do is find it, and then what we can do is we can set up a browse, and then we can point it to that folder. Okay, y'all remember what the default folder was? Huh? Well, we should be able to browse, and then go to, mine's different, and then go to C:, then, huh? C:, yeah, C. No, when you go, it's going to be under C. So just hit on my folder down here. Right, you understand. And then over here in the left-hand pane, go to Windows 7 OS C:. Everybody okay? Okay. And then we're going to get inside here, and then what we're going to do is go to, I think it's in Program Files x86. I think it's an 86 program. And then there should be a folder in here called Siemens. You'll find it? And then there should be a folder called I'm just going to find it. We'll do it the easy way. I'm going to go up here and search. Asterisk dot AP14. And I'll give you, we'll pop this up when it pops up. Really? Okay. So what would happen? We were in a folder. So here it is right here. It's under C:users, and then you should have METSTU, right? My documents, automation. So that's what we should do. So I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna say browse, and then where is it at? C:users. Everybody follow me? Okay, Kristen? Users. And then you should have an METSTU folder in there, right? We're looking in the other username because right, MET, right? And yeah, it says there. Then we should have one called automation. There's not one called automation in here. Oh, I'm in the wrong user. Yeah, should have one called automation, and then you should be able just to say open, and then your project should pop in there.
Username, password, block, yeah.
Huh?
If they don't have permission, open.
Well, what you need to do is the username is METSTU and the password should be just plain welcome.
Okay, so I'm in the, where it says ESU or ESU.gov.
No, we don't want that. We want the MET.SCT. That's the other. Are we there? Does that work? Yep. That's okay. If it don't work, then what we'll do is just recreate it. So let's do that. Let's don't pull it up. Y'all do it by yourself. Huh? No, we're just gonna do one run, just the latching circle. Y'all can help each other.
Okay, so get out of that.
Yeah, get out of that. Just go back to your field portal and create a new project. Where y'all going to start at? And the next thing you're about to do is configure the PLC, right? Okay. Sometimes if we make major changes, and it took me a little while to figure this out too, guys, with a project, which means there's such a mismatch between what we have in the PLC and what we're trying to upload into it. It comes up and says we have to synchronize both units together. I'm trying to open up a project. By the way, when you open up a project, it's going to come back to this window right here. We've already got the project, we've got it configured, we got everything we need to do. So we don't need to go here anymore. So once you've got a project created, if you don't want to make a new project, right, you understand, then what you do is come right down here and go to project view. You'll see where I'm at. Okay. And then we pop up and it should bring up our project. Well, it's not going to bring up our project because it don't really know what we want to do. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my PLC, and then I'm going to go to program blocks, and then we can start opening up our program blocks as soon as it pops up. So main OB1, right? So it's just going to be like, it's going to be just like the RS Logic 500, is that when you're going to have to open up all the modules when we add subroutines for this. Everybody okay? Now, the problem is I'm not connected to a PLC. I need to go get one. Where's my PLC? Oh, the one sometimes the program that we have in the PLC and the program that we're trying to upload are either not the same, or we've made a major modification and we haven't been uploaded. So what you'll do is you'll get a little message up that says it can't do all. Yeah, it says you're going to have to manually synchronize this stuff. So we're going to run into this every once in a while. Where's my face? Y'all got the kid, y'all got y'all's cable, right? Y'all got y'all's cable. And this, no, it won't work. It won't work, unfortunately. Okay. So what we'll do is, so right now I'd probably get that same error. But what we'll do is come up here to your top bar, into your menu bar, under Online. Everybody there? See what I'm talking about? And this is not going to hurt anything. And then we'll come down here where it says Download and Reset PLC Program. That's all you have to do. And then it's going to come back and synchronize what's in the PLC with. So it's going to take what you got and upload it on top of the other program. So it's kind of like it's kind of misleading. If you tried to do this on the HMI panel, it'll say, "Do you want to rewrite the program?" Which is what happens. But what this thing says is that if you're going to rewrite or put a new program in there or resynchronize it, then you have to do a what? You're going to do what? Go to Online, and then go to what? Mine's giving me my little swirly line. Okay, and then you're going to have to refine the PLC. So this should have popped up. Everybody okay? What we're going to do here is hit Start Search.
Mine's asking either no action or stop all or depression bottom.
Mine's totally different. That might be all you have to do on yours. So the program, and I'm probably gonna get another error anyway. The error I'm gonna get is I'm gonna flash my lights. The error I'm gonna get is that I've got a complete mismatch now, because what I've done is I'm almost sure I wrote this for another PLC that was set up different. So I'm almost sure this program was written for the PLC that already had the IO module on the other IO module on the outside. There's nothing I can do about that if it don't work. But we'll see. It works, CC? No action. Stop all. Why is that then? The wrong problem. So what'll probably happen to me is I'll get an error that I can't do anything about.
So my next is to go online and download the program, right? That I just set up.
Well, you don't have to go online to download it. All you can, if you hit download on this one, it'll do everything for you, which is pretty neat. So you should have, your download button should be available. It should be blue up there. And when you click on it, it'll take care of everything for you. And so one thing, we had to stop everything, right? And it looks like mine's going, we'll see if mine's going to work. Oh, mine did, so that's good. Oh, this is the program that we used yesterday. So what happened, y'all listen up. So what was happening in the CC is that yesterday we built a function block, right? We built the subroutine. And what was happening is that we were supposed to delete it, right? You understand? But what would happen with CC is she still had that function block over here, but the new program didn't contain a what? Function block. So that what it was telling me, if we looked at the error message, it said inconsistent configuration is what it was telling. Now she could have probably went out and added a function block to the program, and then it probably would have worked fine. So on these blocks, we showed y'all how to add them, right? So you can add them. Just hit add a block, and then it's going to bring up the window, and you have to just give it a what? A name, and then type in what? Okay. And then to get rid of it, what do? We just right click on it, and then choose what? Delete. And that was been the problem. Like I said, you could have probably put that function block inside there, but it would probably work. So that was inconsistent configuration. And did y'all get y'all's clock memory to work? Huh?
You want to put that back in there? I thought you just wanted the first.
Yeah, that's okay, but I don't. But I'm asking y'all got y'all's clock memory to work, where you could actually flash it where it actually flashed and did the timing thing for you. So this was what we ended up with. So what we're going to do is on the RS Logic, where it's got one of the things they do to flash a light is they do those back-to-back timers. And what we'll do is we'll come back and just replace it with one of these guys right here. It'll be a lot easier. Are you okay on those? Yeah. So what do we have to do to set that up? We had to go over here to properties. First of all, we had to be offline, right? Then we had to go to what? Right click on the PLC, go to properties, then go down to system memory and I/O. And then right now, we've assigned them 6 and 7. But once we assign them, we've assigned them to software, but now we have to assign them to the what? Hardware. Y'all remember how to do that? Yeah. So we would go and just download the hardware configuration, right? Everybody okay? Well, once we set it up, we right click on the CPU, on the PLC again, and then we come down to download device, and then what we'll do is we'll just download the hardware configuration. And then what that'll do, now what we're doing is we're actually setting up, or we're putting that inside our processor, right? Took me a long time to figure that out too, guys.
Hardware configuration.
Yeah, just to download the hardware configuration. That's after you go back and reset it up. So another thing that we'll show you how to do is at the end of the term. It must not be there. I'm gonna have to figure out. I'll have to figure out how to do that. Let's see. I got to go back and figure out how to do that. I can't remember right now. What we'll do when we get through here is I'll figure out how to do that. We can reset the PLC. So when you actually do a factory reset on your PLC, what's it going to do? Yeah, all this stuff that we've done to it is going to be what? It's going to be gone. So let's see if we can find it. I thought it was in here. Yeah, here we go. So what we would do if we wanted to start all over, or if I was going to reassign this PLC, like give it new addresses and all that kind of stuff, we'll come up here to options. I'm sorry, we'll go to online. Maybe not. Wait. We're looking for diagnostics. It might be over here. Yeah, I think we get to it right here. So over there under your PLC, you've got online diagnostics. You see that? And then we can double click on that. And then it brings up this list right here. So this helps you out a lot if you're having problems. And then what we can do is go to functions. And then the second from the bottom is what? Reset the factory default. So if we reset the factory default, then we'll have to do something else too. I'm gonna have to figure this out. Because right now mine's grayed out. So I have to figure out how to do that. But this is where we'll go and reset it to the factory default. So are you okay? So it's been a while since I did this. We're offline. Maybe you have to, I think you have to be online. Let's see, options. I'm sorry. Yeah, because what we're going to do is we're going to start moving over to, I don't think you can reset it unless you're online. So I'm going to go to functions. I'm going to go to reset. Yeah, so that's. So right now, this is my device, PLC1. What you have to do to reset it is you got to be online with it, right? Everybody okay? Yes or no? So let's go ahead and reset this, and then we'll come back and start working. Well, we got to run the line. I think everybody's here. We got to go over there and run the Festo line. I've been putting that off because y'all hadn't been getting here on time. So let's go ahead and reset these processors. So I'm gonna go over what? Go over here to what? Right under the right under the CPU. One of the listings we got is online diagnostics, online and diagnostics, right? Everybody okay? Make sure you're online. Everybody okay? Okay. Then we're going to go to what? Function. And then reset the factory settings. And then over here you're going to type in what? Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to delete the IP. Make sure you select the delete IP address, because we're going to have to do that. Because when we set up our computer over there, what are we going to have to do for each PLC? If we're going to network them together, then they're all going to have a what? Have to have a unique IP, right? You understand? So we're going to select delete IP address, and then next time whoever uses this PLC is going to be starting from scratch, right? Everybody okay? And then hit reset, and then it's going to give you a little warning. It says what? Yeah, yes. Then it's going to give you another. Right? And then we are back to a blank CPU. So we'd actually have to go back now and basically do just about everything on the CPU. So every PLC that I played around with gives you the ability to go back to the factory defaults, right? Which would be what's in the PLC when you buy it. Everybody okay?
How did you get that, didn't I?
What's that?
Did I already reset it?
I don't know. I wasn't back there.
Or do I need to do it again?
Yeah, it won't hurt for you to do it again. If you don't think you do it, just do it again. It's not. Go online. Right. And then go to function. Then go to diagnostics, online and diagnostics. So we'll call this lab first. We'll call this lab first program. This will actually be lab number 2, right? Lab 1 is going to be. This is the first time we've done this, right? Lab 1 is going to be the Festo line over there. So everybody okay? Yes or no? So when I give you the lab forms, we're going to do lab forms in this class, but we're not going to really have written labs. Okay? Does that make sense? And this will actually be the second lab that we do. I don't know. We'll do this too. We'll call this a lab. What did we do here? We reset factory default. That didn't take very long. So we got any questions so far? Everybody okay? Okay. This is something that we didn't do on the PLCs over there, but you can understand if you're going to recommission the PLC, especially if you got to change everything about it, then what the best thing to do is just to do what? Just reset it and start it from scratch. Everybody okay?